We can learn a lot from diving into these old newspapers from the Library of Cons, and this one is no particular. I've got two specific articles that are very related, and this first one is from December 19th, 1771. And, we all just take it kind of loosely, like, oh, the world is a theater, it's all a stage and stuff, but yeah, it's been that way for way too long, and both of these articles kind of relate to that and getting the opinions of those back in the 1770s, which were they, I think, feeling the same exact thing as us? Yeah, and again, history repeats itself, all that kind of stuff. It just echoes throughout all of this. But take a listen to this. Again, 1771, called The Universal Farce in the Massachusetts Spy. I'm glad my fellow compatriots in this state were amazing at one point. I wish we could bring back that power now and do some good for the collective, but Massachusetts has gone quite astray. So here we go, the universal farce. The world is a theater, mankind are the comedians. There composes the piece, and fortune distributes the parts. Theologists and politicians govern the machines, and philosophers are the spectators. The rich take their places in the pit and upper boxes. The powerful in the front and sides, and the galleries are for the poor. The women distribute fruit and refreshments, and the unfortunate snuff the candles. Folly composes the overture, and time draws the curtain. The title of the piece is Mundus vult decipi ergo deseapant sepiatum. If the world will be deceived, let it be so. The opening of the farce begins with the sighs and tears. The first act abounds with the chimerical projects of men. The frantic testify their applause with re-echoed bravos, whilst the sagacious bring their catcalls into play to damn the performance. At going in a sort of money is paid called trouble, and in exchange a ticket is given, subscribed untaziness or unphasiness, in order to obtain a place. The variety of objects which appear for a short time divert the spectators, but the unraveling of the plot and intrigues, well or ill concerted, force the risible muscles of the philosophers. We see giants who presently become pygmies, and dwarfs who imperceptibly attain a monstrous height. There we see men exerting all their efforts in the pursuit of the most eligible plans, guided by prudence and armed with precaution, who are nevertheless circumvented in all their pursuits and frustrated in all their endeavors, whilst here we observe a group of indolent, careless fellows who attain the highest summit of mundane felicity. Such is the farce of this world, and he who would choose to divert himself with it at his leisure should take his place in some obscure corner where he may, unobserved, be a spectator of the whole performance, and in safety laugh at it as it deserves. Honestus, it says at the end. And I'd like to read more from that guy because he nailed it. Visually, he absolutely nailed it. And he's got the whole thing down symbolically, and wow, nothing changes. And now check this out on pamphleteering, very much associated with the propaganda of the similar power and timeless variety. Here we go. I believe this is of a similar age paper, and maybe even the same paper exactly, but it's pretty interesting from the Political Observatory on pamphleteering. No argument like matter of fact is. And while I'm reading this, take into account, pamphleteering was their Twitter, their news, their everything, their social media back in the day in some way. And I love pamphleting and flyering when I was in a band, or still, but when I was in the city, I used to flyer everything during that era. I actually rated the printers at my school so much that they changed the rules so that that couldn't be done anymore. I'd hand out flyers to people all day if I could, and I loved it. You'd meet people, it's just beautiful. But this is a totally different kind, and the propaganda of this era shows itself in this way. So here we go. Here we go. You'll see. The best pamphlet that can be read on public men and measures is a pamphlet of experience. The friends of the present administration might rest their cause wholly on this great volume, which has now been before us almost 4 years. This is very relevant to today. Over 200 years ago. We do feel and know that we are free from burthens, and that we are the happiest people, parentheses, the grumblings of the grumblers only accepted. under heaven. We have no need to go about to prove this with ink and pen on paper. We are proving it every day in our hearts and in our outward circumstances and enjoyments. Do we desire to return again to times of taxation, to cockade times, to army times, to times of alarm and terror? What book can be written with subtlety enough, with assurance enough, and with lies enough to introduce us to such madness? Can they browbeat us, lost of our senses? Can they lie us out of our experience? Can they convince us on paper that white is black and black is white, that there is no sun in the firmament, that the resplendent day is night, that the good we feel is evil, and that the evils we have felt but do not know now feel are good? Vain taste or something. The people have too much sense. They are not yet such stupid brutes. Oof, I think I predicted it. But I think we've become what they feared would end up happening as a result of all this. And the last paragraph says, fellow citizens, when you see another federal pamphlet or take up a federal newspaper to read, you will compare it with the volume of experience, a volume which is widespread before you and is near you, even in your mouth and in your hearts, in your barns, in your houses, and in your coffers, the volume of Mr. Jefferson's administration. This is the law and testimony of political salvation and happiness. Whatever they speak, which is not according to this, you will contradict your experience and violate your conscience. If you believe a word of what they say, be not carried away about with every wind of doctrine by the flight of men in cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Let no one be cheated out of his senses, nor led astray from the dictates of his own experience. Consider every attempt to inveigle you into political fanaticism as an affront. Spurn the deceiver from you. As you possess happiness, exchange it not for visionary dreams and insubstantial pretenses, but possessing it, maintain it. And it says, from a rational creature. Very cool paper that this is all from, and if I can find the link, I'll definitely include it below. But I love how they refer to all of that, and just it's total propaganda, the exact same propaganda we face today, especially during a time of an election, and with the past administration, who you can't ignore the experience. No matter what they say, people finally get it now. They can't ignore the experiences, the propaganda that's everywhere, Twitter, in our faces, all over the place, and even using AI to target us is still wearing thin in the face of experience, because they took it way too far. And hopefully we can right all these tremendous amounts of wrongs and get the entire country and world back on track, as I feel we are en route to being able to do. So, time will tell. Stay tuned for a lot more. Bless you all.